Hi, my name is Terry Lee from Sweet Pea Papers in the Sweet Pea Papers Facebook group. This is video 2 in our series The Night Before Christmas, and it's our lamp book that we're going to be using the Let It Snow Graphic 45 8x8 and 12x12 pads. Okay, now I've got everything out that we're going to be able to do in this video. I hope we get this part done in the video. And so that's going to be this blue paper to cover the inside spines, 2 of them. We don't have enough for 3. We're going to wait for another scrap. And then this is going to be our back paper for the back of this side. Yeah, the back of this side. And, you know, or do I want to do it on this other side? I think I was going to do this side first. So these are our scraps that were left over from before. They're all the same size, and they're not wide enough to cover our outside spine, or the smallest spine, which I thought they might be. So we're just going to keep these as scraps that make good belly bands. And we're going to have a lot of space for cards and belly bands and things like that, because this book, like I said, is mainly for keeping memories of each year's Christmas. So a lot of this stuff you'll be able to remove and replace, and then you'll be able to add new for the next year, and then you can write on that and keep the booklet and or the pages out of the book, and possibly the tags of the previous year. You can take them out and put in new ones. Okay, so that's what we're going to do with that. And this is the page I picked for the back because it wasn't going to be able to be used anywhere else. I was going to use it on the back cover, but I thought that it would clash with the book cover that we're going to use on the front. The Night Before Christmas, it's just two different Santa Clauses and such. And so we're going to use it on the inside, and I couldn't figure out how to use it to where you would see the paper. So we're gonna go over that. We're gonna make our flaps and things out of white. The blue and white go with the kit, and get snow in the blue backgrounds. And but we're going to ink our white papers in our Uncharted Mariner. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to paper our spines. So let's move this out of the way. Now, the way to do that is you want to have at least 1 inch on either side. Some people put 2. I think since we have 8x8s, I think 1 inch on either side will be enough. Maybe 1.5 inches. And you don't want it to go all the way to the top. You just want it to go almost to the top. This is what the book cover looks like, completely done. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? And so we're going to be doing this spine. Now, even though we're going to be putting the hidden spine in here that's going to have paper on it, we still need something to go out over this part right here. So we do need to cover this spine with the blue. So this is 1 3/4. So we're going to need 3 3/4 to cover it. So let's measure. Well, let's just trim it. I had to put my trimmer off the table to cover the book. Oh, I wanted to tell you, you do have to be careful with using paper. I have a small tear right here, and I actually had to look for it. I couldn't find it. I glued it down. When I went to bend the paper over, it tore right here. And I was very upset because, you know, we had already done this side. We glued these to the paper. And I really did not want to have to start all the way over. So I was happy that I was able to cover this. And, of course, the kit paper is going to go all the way to the edge anyway. So we are going to go ahead and cut this at 3 3/4. Well, we could make it this looks crooked. Let's go from this side, from the factory side. Oh yeah, that's right, we cut that one crooked, remember? So we're going to go 3 3/4. Yeah, we may not have enough to cover. Yeah, we're not going to have enough to cover this without cutting another piece of paper. So, I think that's off the table, so I'll have to go get one. So let's do that, and then we want to cut it to 8 inches tall, or a little less than 8 inches tall. So let's make it a quarter, and that will give us an eighth at the top and the bottom. Do we want to do that, or do we want a 16th? No, we want an eighth will be fine. Keep this little scrap. Keep all your blue scraps. The blue paper is expensive. Well, the kit papers are expensive too, or the pad papers. Whenever in the tutorial PDF that you can get for free if you're a member of the Sweet Pea Papers Facebook group, whenever I talk about the blue paper, I call it blue. The white paper, I call it white. And these I call the pad papers. Okay? Just for clarification. And I've already cut these to 8 inches tall, just so I didn't forget. So see, they're the same height as the pad papers. Okay, so now to do this spine, what we're going to do is we're going to put glue. Let's see, do I want to put it on the spine and on the paper? Possibly. You want to make sure it's completely stuck down in the center, or when you go to fold it, it will bow up. You definitely don't want that. I've had that happen to me. And when you're this far into a project, you get the paper glued on, and then you go to fold it, and it bubbles up, then it makes you very, very upset. This particular one we might be able to rescue if it did happen when we put the spine on, because we're going to put eyelets in. But we definitely don't want it to bubble up. So let's put some glue on the spine. We'll put it on the cardboard part. This is pretty full, but I still have to wait for the bubble. So we're going to put it on here, and you're going to put quite a bit. Make sure you get it right along the edge. Oops. The paper, when we put glue on the paper, that will cover the very ends. I didn't really mean to go out that far on the blue, but you won't see it still, so it's okay. But you definitely want to put some on the cardboard or the chipboard. And then you definitely, now I want to glue this side down because there's a little bit of glue on here. So I'm going to move this out of the way so I don't get glue on it. And I'm going to glue this like crazy as well. I'm going to put a little extra in the corners, well, and along the top, so that I can kind of slide it around a little bit. And then the same thing around the bottom. And then we're going to cover the rest of the paper with glue. I think my glue is clogged up a little bit. I need to kind of hurry up. I mean, Fabri-Tac does, yeah, that's better. Fabri-Tac does give you some time, but it doesn't let you go forever. You want to get the outside edges of this really well too, because it's going to go out past the edge of the spine. So we're going to take this paper, I'm going to take our spine, we're going to put this over the spine and get it equal from the top and the bottom and equal from side to side. And you want it to be straight. Now, I think that's a little bit closer to the top. Get that all down. And then you're going to want to take your bone folder, and where you did here for the seam, you want to go all the way down, because that's going to fold there. I probably should have put a little bit of glue in there. Then you want to use your bone folder on here to make sure the glue is spread around. Especially in the middle. I'm going to give that a minute to dry. Let me go grab another piece of paper that I didn't want to do, because that's going to give us another one of those long strips. Okay, we're going to want to cut it to 7 7/8 on one side. And that'll be our height. Jiminy Christmas. That's going to give us this scrap, which we should be able to do the other spine with, so that worked out fine. I also have this piece. Oh, this is the crooked piece. I should square this up before I forget and use it. Okay, get this little scrap off of there. So now this is straight. And we got this scrap that we can do the other spine with. So we got this to the height. And now our width is 3, so we want it to be 5. And that gives us this scrap, which is square. So that helps us. Well, it's not quite square. Okay, and that's going to go over our center, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to use a lot of glue. Let's check this one. You don't want to bend it past 90 degrees. That looks fine. I don't know why I flipped that over. Didn't matter. Now I do have my apron on before we ink, because I don't know if it's like the black soot that gets everywhere, and I have a brand new white t-shirt on, so I want to make sure I don't get any Uncharted Mariner on it. Just a side note. You can put a little bit of glue down in there if you want. doing it like that kind of gunks it up. Yeah, you can see what was in the nozzle. So the more we put on here, the longer it will stay wet. We want to put a lot on here, and we want it to go right to the edges. And we want to put the glue around here. Let's not do that. And a little bit more in the corners. Wow, when you do this much Fabri-Tac, it does kind of get to your eyes. I know I'm going to be a little off camera, but I'm just putting glue on paper, so. I don't want to be on the book cover itself adding glue to the paper. And this is the most glue I'll use on anything, is on these spines right here. Just because on most things you can get away with gluing heavy on the corners and down the sides. It's not like you're going to be, you know, murdering the book. How in the heck did I hold on to this before? Plus, since we're going all the way to the edge of this, there's a little bit of glue that will go down in those folds. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing. I have to get some more glue. We're going to do the same thing over this. Center it. Looks like I cut this a little short somehow. It says a little bit of glue on here. I'm going to rub it with my finger. It's Fabri-Tac. A lot of times it'll come right up. What little bit I don't get is actually going to be under the paper. So we want to get this down really well, especially in the center. Get our bone folder out. Yeah, it's about a 1/16 short on this end. Kind of get any little extra that oozes out when you use your bone folder. I have a dry wet wipe, so I just took a clean wet wipe and set it out to dry. They're very absorbent. And a funny thing about Fabri-Tac, if it feels cold, it's still wet. I don't know why, but I've just found that to be true. You want to be careful not to push down too hard. You don't want to tear your paper. You just want to make sure that it's going to fold where it's supposed to fold. And we're going to let that dry. And I did make a little tear right there. I pushed the tip down too hard. Should have done it like that. then your tip, the tip of it doesn't go down in there. And I'll do the third one off camera with the other scrap that we have, that we now have, which is what I figured would happen. Okay. And fold this. So this is going to fold like this. This one is going to fold like this. Then the whole thing is going to fold like this. And then I will probably clip these together and leave it overnight. And you'll notice that you don't really notice that one. Oops, I'm so sorry. So it's going to look like this on the inside. This is going to be even. And this one is a little bit bigger than this one, but it doesn't really matter when you have it closed. And like I said, there's no need to bend any of them more than 90 degrees, even though I accidentally did. And then you might want to clip them here overnight, just to kind of train it to go that way. We also don't have a seam on any of the spines. I do have a little Fabri-Tac stuck on there, a little loose piece. If you get a little bit of schmutz on there, you can just wipe it off. And that's our book completely covered. Okay, now we're going to build on the papers, and then we're going to glue the papers into the book. All right, our back cover is going to look like this, only not this paper. And then our front cover is going to be covered with our little golden book cover. So we're going to completely take the book apart. There was no way to save it unless we just put the little golden book on the cover, which you could do, and then just build up everything on the inside. You could put your little golden book and your journal on the front if you wanted to. You'd have to take the spine apart. Well, never mind. We'll talk about that. So now we're going to take and set this to the side. I may go ahead and clip it. I've got these soft clips that slide right through. And I want to make it all even in the way I want it to be. And then clip it. And put your clip all the way down onto the cardboard so you don't make a dent in your paper, but not too far down so that you make a dent with this, you know, inside where the spring is. So I'm going to put both clips on there, and then I'm just going to stand it up. Now, the other side, we're going to build the same flip-flap thing. So as far as the basic construction of the white paper, I'm going to do one on camera and one off camera. Otherwise, we're never going to get done. And I've got 10 videos set aside for this. And I probably should have set aside more, to tell you the truth, just so you know how long this series is going to be. Lamp books are pretty intricate. If you do a quad fold, you know, with the two spines instead of a trifold with just the one spine, just so you know. So we're going to take this paper, and I've cut these to 8 inches high. Now one of the papers we're going to cut at 8 by 8. And of course, you know, the second one, these are going to all have to be inked. So when I go to ink everything, And then we're going to score it at a half. So I may pause the video so you don't have to watch me do all the inking, because the inking is going to be kind of extensive. So that basically makes this 7.5. So we're going to fold it. And the hill, or the pointy side, the bumped up side, wants to be the fold. And the indent side makes the seam better. Then we're going to miter it, which means cutting the corners off at an angle so we don't see them. Or, well, hopefully we don't see them. Let's double check our size against this. I'm wondering, no, I want it to be 8 by 8 or 7.5 by 8. Okay, then we're going to go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and cut and score the others, and then I'm going to show you where they need to be inked. This one we're going to cut to 7 by 8. So I guess you can see where we're going with this. So that way it will show a little bit on the inside, which will actually be over here. We're going to make like an accordion. So if you already know how to do that, then that's what we're going to do. So we're going to make this one 7 by 8. Keep all your scraps of these too. So that's 7 by 8. I'm going to write lightly that this started as the 8 by 8, so I know. I don't think I want to do that. I'll lay them on there. Actually, I can ink them after we glue them. I'm going to take this out and score it at 1/2. Make sure you're scoring it on the long side. Make sure you're going all the way to the half past where you cut. And then, of course, make sure you're straight and everything. If you have to put it on a scoreboard, you know, that's fine. I like this trimmer because it has a scoring tool that you can buy for it. It also comes with a blade. It comes in a set. And you just take it off and you put the blade back on. It's kind of nifty neato. So then we're going to fold it. We're going to miter it. And I'm going kind of far back because I really don't want to see them. But you don't want to go too far back. Wow, I'm starving. It's you guys again. I know it is. I know you guys are eating. Then we're going to take this one and we're going to glue it on here going this way. Okay? Do you see where I'm going? So this is hooked over this. This is hooked over this. Then we're going to make one more piece, and it's going to be a little bit shorter. And it's going to hook on this piece. Okay? So, probably should bone folder these. Make them nice and crisp. Holler at me if I go off screen too much. We're just cutting with so many papers. You know, make a comment below. This one, we're going to make 6 by 8. So it's 8, 7, and 6. You can go 8, 7.5, 6.5. If you want the overlap that shows to be a little bit smaller than this. But I like being able to see the Let It Snow. Oh, and I was going to tell you that this lap book was inspired by, I think I told you in the first video, Jody, and I can't remember her last name, putting a link to her YouTube below. As far as using the pad, and Mandy at Sunflowers and Doors for some of the elements that we're going to put in. But of course, I'm going to put my own spin on things, but there's going to be some basic ideas that are going to be the same. With Mandy and Sunflowers and Doors, it's going to be her Sherlock Holmes lap book. And with Jody, it's going to be her Let It Snow journal. And I'm not sure what her lap book is called. I don't remember. I don't know if she called it Let It Snow because that was the paper pad, or if she named it the name of the little golden book that she used. And hers is different as far as the construction. She uses the two covers of the little golden book on either end, so it's smaller, and she uses cloth for the hinges. I'm just not well versed with cloth, which I'm going to have to learn to do. I'm going to have to learn to sew as well, I guess. I have a sewing machine. If you're going to get one, Brother is a really good brand. And you can go to the Brother website and look for their reconditioned or refurbished sewing machines. And I got a $150 sewing machine for $65 from their website. You can also look on eBay. But when you look on eBay, don't buy one from a private owner because you never know. Look for the refurbished by Brother on eBay. The same with the printer. You can get an Epson printer, one of those EcoTanks, the inexpensive or the expensive ones. I got a $450 one for $250 or $225, something like that, from Epson on eBay. So then we're going to hook this one this way. So, sorry about that. So basically what we're going to have is like a stair-step effect. Okay? So it's going to be an accordion. And by that I mean it's going to be a zigzag piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause for a second, and I'm going to ink everything with the Uncharted Mariner. I know I keep saying the name of it over and over again, but I want you to remember because it's a good blue to go with this. I saw Jody's. Oh, and we also want to ink the edges of this paper. I forgot because it does have a white core, so we want to do that too. So you're going to want to ink along the fold, and then along the fold, the crease. So just fold it backwards and ink it, and then fold it back. Okay? Don't do it too many times. You don't want the paper to think you're going to tear it off. Okay? So go ahead and do all that inking, and then I will see you in what seems like a blink of an eye to you, but it's going to be a little bit for me because it's going to be some inking. Okay? Hold on just one sec. So this is what you're going to have when you get done. Yes, Uncharted Mariner is just like black soot. It gets everywhere. I've washed my hands with soap and water, and I still have it on me. Make sure that when you wash your hands after using this, use either a work towel or a dark towel that you don't care about, which would be a work towel, because a little bit may still come off onto your towel. Okay? Now, this is what you're going to end up with. You're going to end up with a piece that opens like this. And then this is going to open like this. And then like that. And then the whole thing is going to open like this. So you're going to end up with this giant piece that opens all the way out like this. Now, like I said, these are going to be constructed the same on both sides. Both are the 8-inch pieces. So this is the only time I'm going to show you the actual construction of this. So we're going to want to, I'm not going to glue this to here. I'm not sure. Maybe I should. So we get a good idea of our thickness. And we're definitely going to do a tag that I just saw Mandy do at Sunflowers and Doors. These were very cool. She called it her moose something tag, and I think it was because it was like most, but moose because it was big. So we're gonna set these two to the side, and we're gonna glue this to this. Oh, and I inked where it was mitered just in case you see a little bit of it. So I inked the edges where it was mitered. So your inked page is going to look like this on both sides. I'm going to ink your seams. And as you can see, it's a very juicy pad. I started with a brand new rounded dauber. And at first it was a little hard to kind of get ink on it. And then it kind of went crazy on me. So, yeah. So we're going to put glue along here. And we're going to glue it to this edge of here. And remember, we inked along the edge here so that it wasn't white. Be careful that you don't get too much on the front. So you can just kind of run it along the edges. Okay. I'm going into a little bit more detail on this one since I'm not going to show you how to make the other one, because it's going to be the same. Not the same paper, but the same construction. And you don't want to go over your seam with your glue. I'm going to do a little extra on the ends so I can kind of move it around a little bit. I want to make sure to get these straight. And they're going to be glued to the book too, to hold, and that'll hold it on more. But the trick is you want to get these straight. And you want to make sure it can fold. That's why I take a little bit extra time with these, because You can see where I had it on my hands, it transferred. So you want to be careful getting it on your hands and then putting your hand down on your paper. Okay, so that folds nicely. We're going to want to do the same on the next one, only we're going to hook it from this side. So we're going to fold it this way, and we're going to glue here. And they're all 8 inches tall. That one was actually a little crooked, even though it looks straight. I should have double checked it while it was still wetter. Okay, now we're going to see that Let It Snow down the border. That'll be nice. Yeah, so this one's going to go this way. Let's make sure I'm gluing the right side of the... Well, it doesn't matter. It's just white. We can fold it back the other way. And then we'll do the same with the features that we add to the page. We will make the feature on the paper, and then we'll glue it to this page. Okay, so this page is going to be treated just like this page. I'm sorry about that noise. Once again, you want to make sure this is straight, top and bottom. You don't want it so tight that it's going to pull. So, you know, when we put the paper on, you'll only see that little bit of a corner, and it'll look like a book corner. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing on this one, only we're going to go from this side. Now, I am going to leave a little bit of a border around, otherwise it would have been kind of pointless. Well, we would have had to cover up the white anyway, but it would have been pointless for me to go in that far when I inked, and that was why I went in farther than just doing the edge. I think it'll save us a little bit of paper in the long run. So our Let It Snow is going to be on the left, and this is going to open up like so. Make sure your picture's right side up when you start putting the features on. You know, your belly band and your background papers and things like that. And then it's going to open out one more time like so. A little bit of extra glue here. Let's get it wiped off. Make sure they're glued down all the way. It looks like I missed a little bit. Sorry if you see in the top of my head. Okay, and I think that's all we're going to do on this video. I haven't picked out the papers, and I'm not sure what elements we're going to do. So you could fold it in this way as well if you wanted to. That one looked a little crooked. It's going to go like this. Just make sure the let it snow is on your right. Okay, that's how you want to make sure on that. Now eventually this part right here will be glued onto our book cover. Okay, and that's how that's going to go. Sorry about the shaky hands. And then, like I said, we'll put papers on here, and then we'll put our elements like belly bands or pockets or flip outs or anything else special that we're going to do on each of these, on those papers, and then we'll glue them on here. Okay, well, that's it for this video. We did the insides of our spines. We did, or two of them anyway, two of the three. And we inked and cut our papers, and then we glued them on, and we glued them onto our backing paper. Oh, you know what? We still have time. That's why I got this other paper out. We're going to make, actually it looks like I glued it on the wrong side to begin with. No, that's right. The paper's right side up. Like I said, it doesn't matter which way it opens, actually. But it's better if it doesn't open towards the inside spine, because that's where our journal's going to be, our little golden book, altered golden book. Okay, minus the covers. On here, I want to make a hidden pocket. And I'm sure you guys know how to do that by now. And I want the hidden pocket to be a little tall for the type of tag we're going to put in there, which is the type I saw Mandy make. And so I'm going to cut it right below the bunny, and then we'll ink the paper on the outside 3 edges, and then we'll glue it down. So we're going to get this out of the way. Oh boy, I have to get the ink out again. I thought I was done with the ink. I forgot. So we're going to, so we'll have this again, but we could make a pocket or something out of it. You know, cut it off here and make a Christmas pocket. No, I don't have anything on there. I'm going to cut it off there. This is going to be our pocket. Obviously keep the scrap. We're going to want to run this around the outside, all the edges actually. We don't want any white to show on this with the hidden pocket. See, now I've done enough inking that it won't show on the edges when I just run it around to get rid of the white core. Which by core I mean center of the paper. It is printed on both sides. Now this would make a nice contrast if I wanted to do that. And we can use the back on the scrap that we had left over as well. These are two-sided papers, and you just have to decide what side you're going to use. So forget what I said about that's it for this video. We're going to put the pocket on. You want to make sure that you put your thumb on the top side, and then glue the other 3 sides. I have to fill my glue already. I think I said that once. I am now repeating myself. Try to glue as close to the edges as you can. That way your pocket's bigger. I'm going to put a little bit of a glob there. I think I scraped it too much. So I don't think I have quite enough glue on there. Okay. We're just going to line this up even. To make our pocket. The easiest way is to line this up right here and to line this up right here. Then you know you've got it lined up. Because you want it to continue right on with the Let It Snow. Make sure you don't have any glue oozing out on the edges. A little carried away on one side and not quite enough on the other when I first glued it. So that's that. You are going to see that little bit of a blue, but it's better than seeing the white. So that's as close as to a hidden pocket as we're going to get. Once we start putting ink on here, then there's quite a bit of ink. But you can, because you can see, look, you can see right where I did the lines. Anyway, now that's it for this video. And I'll see you in the next video. And that will be just a second for you and a day for me. Okay, bye-bye.